I had a very few days to film this because I couldn't decide who I was more frustrated at, myself or the two port workers that gave us the wrong directions. Debarkation day did not go as planned. Here was the plan. We were supposed to get up, go meet in the main theater, get off the ship, collect our bags, and get on the tour bus for a 2-hour tour around Miami and then get dropped off at the airport. We had a very late flight, so I thought this was a good economical way to kill some time. It was like $78 with the $50 shore excursion credit through Norwegian for this tour and drop off at the airport. And we needed to waste time because we had like 6 hours until our flight. So it was a good deal. It still is a good deal as long as you don't get misdirected. We got our little stickers. They put a little sticker like right here that says tour. And then they let us through the security. And that was it. That was the last time we saw the tour people. The people that checked us in, I should say. We went down and went through customs immigration, collected our bags first, which was easy to find. It's the first time I've had to put my bags out the night before and had them where we had to collect later. And that was fine. We went through the customs immigration part. That was okay. We go out the door and the first port worker sees us and says, okay, tour. Hug the wall and go to the left. Now the wall is a tiny little space. I mean, you can get through, but you can barely get through because there's benches there. And then you got the ropes on the right-hand side. So I'm like, okay, well, this is kind of, eh. So we go along the wall and we go to the left, like he said. Did I say he said go to the left? I hope I said he said go to the left because that's what he said. He said go to the left. So we went to the left. I turned the corner and I'm like, okay, well, maybe we're meeting at a joint meeting spot, several different cruises in port. So I keep going. And I make it to the corner and there's this little cove with another security guard sitting there, or port worker, sitting there. And she sees the sticker and she points to keep on going. So we keep on going all the way to the Royal Caribbean port. Okay, so in my mind here, I'm thinking, I probably just went the wrong way, but maybe not. I'll trust what the two port workers said to do because this is a new port for me. I've never been. And I've never been on Norwegian before either. So I asked one of the port workers at the Royal Caribbean terminal, where do I meet for the cruise? He said Bay 5. So we go to Bay 5. By this time, my son's legs are tired and he's about had it. Which I can't blame him. It was a little trek. Not very long, but a little trek to get there. And so we're waiting and pausing and patiently resting a little bit. And there's no bus coming and no bus coming. And I don't see any of the other people with stickers on them at all. So finally I asked another port worker. I said, I'm here for the Norwegian tour of Miami and transferred to the airport. He said, Norwegian? You got to go back to the Norwegian terminal. I'm like, oh, crap. Okay, so I rally us up and we head for the trek back to the Norwegian port. And as we're going back, all the people are lined up for the taxis and we have to go along that line. And everybody's saying, hey, the line's back there. And I'm like, nope, just cutting through. I don't want a taxi. I got to get back this way. So finally we get back to the Norwegian port. And I asked somebody about the tour. And he says, well, go stand over there. And he shows me where, which was along the wall and to the right. But there's no bus there. And I'm like, by now there should have been a bus there. Should be waiting on us. So I go up to the podium to the guy, the port worker that's selling the transfers for people that want a last minute transfer. And I ask him. And he says, the tour's been gone. And I said, okay, well, can you at least get me on the next transfer to the airport so I can at least get to the airport? He says, yeah, I got you. So we get in the line for that. And at this point, I'm not trusting anybody. So I asked two more port workers that are coming around signing people in for the transfer and stuff. I said, you sure we can get on this bus? They said, yes. Okay, good. After 45 minutes waiting for the next transfer, We got on the bus and we got to the airport. When we got to the airport, it was odd. The bus driver didn't communicate with anybody very well. He pulled up to the terminal, and the only way you knew you was at your right terminal or where to get off at was if you looked out the window and saw your bags sitting on the ground after you took them out. That time is a time I wish I would have never gave him a tip, because I don't feel he deserved it, because he didn't communicate very well. Okay, side note here. The people that put their luggage out at night, what do you do with your dirty clothes that you have in the morning? Where do you put them? Do you stuff them in a backpack, or do you make sure you don't have dirty clothes? Because I made sure to have the clothes on that I was going to wear the next morning. I wore them for a couple hours that night. But what do you do with your under things that are dirty? I'm not putting dirty drawers in my backpack. I mean, maybe if I had a Ziploc to put them in, then I could see putting them in your backpack. Maybe. But I will admit, I threw them out. I wasn't putting them in my backpack. All this to say, I'm still not sure who I was mad at more. Myself, being a travel advisor at that, being a ding dong and walking all the way down to the Royal Caribbean port, or trusting the people that told me, the 2 port workers that told me where to go. But it's all part of the experience. I do this stuff so I can learn it and you don't have to. Lesson learned. Always make sure you don't go past your port. So we got to the Miami airport. Now, mind you, when we landed, it was out the gate and out the door. So I thought the airport was okay. But getting back to the airport, the Spirit has its own little terminal. And yes, I know, budget airline Spirit, what did I expect? But still, it wasn't bad. But they had the old school TSA scanners where you have to take your belt off and take your electronics out the bag. Now tell me why. They told me my son had a switch in his bag, but still made us take it out because he forgot to. Why do they do that if they already know what it is? I don't get that. But so you walk in there, and our gate wasn't far away from the security part. So we had to walk a ways down to get to the main part where the restaurants and stuff are. Not bad empanadas, but they were expensive. 4 for like 24 or something like that. They have like 3 or 4 restaurants in there. They have a section for charging. They don't have like at most places like DTW where they have the charging ports right there at each gate. They don't have that in this section. At least not in any of the gates that I saw. It was just the main chargers, like the pole chargers, in a section where the restaurants and the store is. And down in the gates, at least the gate we went to, you had like 2 sockets. That was it, to share amongst the people that were sitting in the gate. It wasn't bad. It did what we did because we could share with another person. I would do it again, yeah, for the cheaper flights. And I do kind of like Spirit because it's a cheaper flight, and for that I get the middle seat blocked out. So there's 2 of us and we get the whole row to ourselves, and I don't have to worry about another person. Now granted, I wish, our son was older so we could just pay like $50 a ticket and get seated wherever. I would still worry, but I would handle it, because it's $50. But honestly, Miami Airport's not a bad place to spend 6 hours. Next time I'm going to look for Cafe Versailles in the airport, because that's what I really wanted for a snack. I know you're going to pay twice as much for airport food, but still. So we made it home on time and safe and sound. No stuck on the tarmac like on the way there. So now that things have calmed down a little bit, let me give you my honest review of the Norwegian Joy. First of all, I preface this by saying we cruised at the end of January, which didn't have as many people, and the weather was cooler. You never know come January and February if you're going to get warm temperatures or you're going to get a wind and be cool. Now this one was kind of warm, but the wind made it cool. It made it very pleasant, very nice to sit on the balcony. The next cruises I have booked do not have a balcony room, and I'm afraid I'm not going to like them. We've only cruised on a balcony once, but it was hot and muggy out. And I didn't feel like we utilized it at all, hardly. But in this cooler weather, it was so nice. Plus, it might have made it nicer too that this was the first sailing that I didn't have any excursions booked. So there was no setting an alarm clock, no getting up to meet your tour somewhere, none of that. So it was quite relaxing. I don't think I've ever traveled that way where I didn't have to get up to go somewhere, get up to do something other than, camping or in a cabin. Yes, we missed the tour at the end. Yes, Debarkation was messy, but the way relaxing it felt, the good room service, the nice people, things, I mean, you got embarkation and debarkation elevators that get crowded. The buffet was crazy most of the time, except for that debarkation morning. That's on any ship. I think even the small, tiny ships still have that. Um, but I would do it. I would do that ship and that itinerary again. Now, granted, I do weigh out things now versus, okay, do I want to go to a new port or do I just want to relax? But if I had relaxation money, I would do that one again. And next time, I'll trust my instincts a lot sooner. The food on the NCL Joy, for the most part, it was good. I don't think there was any faults of the food. We really liked the local. The chicken wings were okay. They were good tasting. For some reason, I was in the mood for fish and chips. Now, it wasn't great fish and chips, but it was okay. That spaghetti carbonara, I think the only fault with that was, one, it didn't have the egg on top like real carbonara does, and it was with spaghetti. So next time, I'll make sure if I order it again to get it with the different kind of pasta, linguine or fettuccine that I like versus spaghetti. Sorry, spaghetti. Breakfast was okay. Nothing's going to be like homemade. Maybe next time I'll actually go to the buffet and I'll look to see if they have the salmon and the cream cheese like I like. I didn't do that this time. Let's see, what other food did I like? Well, of course, you got the coffee, which was strong, and the Starbucks, which was good. I do have a Starbucks package on the next sailing too. But for the person that commented about finding the 5 a.m. coffee on the deck, I will be up at 5 a.m. one of these days on this next sailing to go find that coffee to try it for you. Just so I can tell you if it's just as strong as any other time of day and how it tastes. And I have not had another brown sugar oat milk shaken espresso as good as the ones I got on the ship. So I would say, for food wise, don't miss out. Don't skip out on the specialty restaurants, at least the one that you only pay for the gratuities for with your package. And go with the flow. You don't have to eat at a certain time. You have that local to back you up, or Oceanians, whatever NCL ship you're on. Or you can order room service. Now, in the middle of the night, room service did take almost an hour, but that afternoon after we got home not home, but back to the cabin, it only took about half an hour. I think that was around 4 or 5 o'clock when we got back on the ship, and that was good, so it was worth it. Overall, and to say, the Norwegian Joy was a good ship. I like the thought of relaxation on a ship. That's what Norwegian's new catchphrase is. And I will say, I went into the sailing saying I was going to relax and I wasn't going to dress up for anything, and I did not. I wore my jean capris on this sailing several times with different nice looking shirts, and I felt comfortable. Granted, I only saw like one or two other sets of people that had casual clothes on, and there were a lot of dressed up people on this ship as well. But, unlike the royal ship I went on, no one side-eyed me with what I was wearing. It was fine. I felt comfortable in my own skin. I didn't feel like I had to keep up to a certain standard. And I really hope that these future NCL sailings are the same, because I'm really liking this company. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Royal. It has a lot of things to do on their ships. And so this NCL ship, the Joy, it has 3 water slides, 1 drop slide. One of them is a drop slide, and an adults only pool a kids only or family pool, 2 small hot tubs, and several other things to do, comedy shows, music in the venues. We didn't get to see the one show because it kept getting canceled, but they do have shows. So it's not as jam-packed as Royal, but it's great for a first-time cruiser or for a budget-conscious person that just wants to get away. It's great for singles. It's great for families. And I would do it again in a heartbeat. It was really relaxing and calm, and I liked that. Well, that's my synopsis of sailing on the Norwegian Joy at the end of January. I'm Heather from Unlimited Travel. If you need help, you want help planning, we can work together to plan your next cruise. Just let me know at unlimitedtravel.com. And until I see you again, happy cruising.